I just did a video on my Crohn's complication experiences with being in and out of the hospital constantly throughout the past couple months with obstructions and all that. And I mentioned an NG tube, and I wanted to dedicate a quick video just to that real quick because if you were in the situation that I was in a couple days ago where I spent a good bit of the week in the hospital with a small bowel obstruction, you might get a NG tube. And that is basically a tube about, from here to here, where they stick it down your nose and it goes down into your stomach. It sucks out all the contents in your stomach and can pull out some stuff from your intestines. I had mine for 3 days. It did turn my complete obstruction partial, but that was, like I said, after 3 days. Normally it should only be they should be operating after 24 hours if you still have an obstruction. But like a lot of you are probably doing, the first thing I did was pull up videos and blogs and stuff on what is it like to get an NG tube, because I have, if you look through my YouTube stuff, I have a ton of health issues and I've dealt with a lot. Like, I've had a lot of tests and procedures done, but I've never had an NG tube, and I was actually kind of nervous because I just don't like the idea of something going down my nose into my stomach and then me watching it come back out. So I was like, first thing I Google is, does it hurt? What is it? What's it gonna do? How long do I have to keep it? Everything I pulled up said that insertion was like absolutely horrible. For me personally, it was more just uncomfortable. I had a nurse who was very gentle and very sweet. She told me a lot of doctors just shove it down there, and I'd imagine if it was just shoved down there, it would have been super painful. But it really wasn't, that bad. And like I said, just uncomfortable. What you do is, first they have to go into your nostril and they have to find like this curve, that was probably the most moment, but it only took a second. And then you're gonna gag. They're gonna give you a cup of water, and you're gonna have to basically swallow this tube down. And it's not as bad as it seems because they're gently pushing it. They lubricate it before they do it. Day one wasn't so bad. They just pulled out a lot of normal, just stomach, more bile. Because at that point I threw up 18 fluid ounces of bile, and that's a lot of the reason they put it in, along with trying to get out help the obstruction. And day two, though, when I woke up, it was just dried blood. I have lupus. My body was like instantly rejecting it. I was in a lot of pain. Like, insertion was nothing. It's what my body did, and your body may or may not do the same thing. You may not have a problem, but for me, I woke up crying a lot of the time. I'm just being flat out honest. They had to give me my anxiety medicine and pain medicine around the clock. Even with Dilaudid and Ativan, I was still uncomfortable. The throat spray they ordered for me would help for a second, but of course once it goes down, the tube's going to suck it back up. So it's kind of like, it doesn't make much sense. But they finally took it out when my obstruction was partial, and I sucked out like 3 cups of disgusting, nasty stuff. Oh, and just a spoiler, for those who worry about being hungry, like, you are not going to be hungry with this tube. Like, the food was the last thing I thought about until maybe, like, I've made myself eat the past 2 days. But I'm not really hungry. Like, I'm still healing, and it's just, I recommend soups and just ices. Ices, Italian ice, things like that. Ice cream. Everyone loves a reason to eat ice cream. But getting that tube removed wasn't painful. It was one of the happier moments of my life. They do it really quick, so you can't even really think about it. But if you just happen to have to get the NG tube, that was my experience. I pray you don't have to have it as long. I pray they take it out. I pray that your body doesn't reject it. But as far as, like, just first initial, getting it, it really wasn't so bad. And not everyone has the issues that I have, and the medicines and everything might work for you, and they probably will, and I pray they do. But that was just my experience with my NG tube, and I really do. I know the whole after part is like really not something you want to hear, but I do hope to give you some kind of peace with the insertion. Just ask them to go slow and tell them if it's your first time getting one. They tend to be, most nurses tend to be really sweet. I know like not all of them are. I've obviously had my very fair share of good bad nurses, but usually they'll be really gentle with you. It's something that nobody wants done, and most people can be, especially nurses, can be sympathetic to that. So good luck with whatever you're going through, and I'm praying for you. Whoever you are, just everyone that's going through it now and in the future, we'll get through it together, and just one step at a time. Continue to spread awareness. Don't be afraid to talk about it. It's a devastating disease, and some people need help getting through it. And if you can give advice, give it. Other than that, I just, like I said, pray for y'all, and Godspeed.